everybody loves the beautiful and bold spiciness and the texture of a curry, and nothing beats sitting down to a curry at the end of a chaotic and busy day.
Yes.
So today we're going to do a firm favorite, butter chicken.
Butter chicken.
Yes, and we're going to be doing some homemade rotis as well. So we've started with some fillets of chicken. When you're doing butter chicken, you don't want to use the whole chicken, and you certainly don't want to use chicken on the bone, and especially if you are serving it with a roti. And so we use some lovely fresh fillets of chicken. As you can see, there's no fat or bone in here, and you're going to slice that down the middle and just cube it.
Okay, while you're doing what?
While I'm washing up my hands and getting the stove on to add the ghee and the onion.
Okay, so that's your butter chicken in bite-sized cubes.
There you go.
It depends how big your bite is, I guess.
Yes, I think in your case you're going to add quite a bit of a...
Is that a good enough?
That's a large enough size. Thank you.
All right, there
So
we
we've
go.
got the butter, we've got the chicken all ready for us. I've turned on the heat on the stove, and if you remember correctly, we're going to always add a dash of oil in first. Do you know why that was?
So it doesn't stick.
So that it doesn't stick, and also so that the ghee that we put in doesn't start to scorch. So there you go. I've added, I would think, about a quarter cup of ghee. You have done the beautiful onions in the machine again, but you just want to just dice it up a couple of more times.
So all
Yes.
of this?
Yep. Just,
All the onions.
Yep. Just hold it up
Okay,
and
you want to
just.
stand on that end? So the
Okay.
onions don't affect
There
the-
you go. So I've got. Well done. Wow, you really chop onions very well.
No. I learned it from my
Why?
fill in the blank. My wife.
Yes. So there we go. Let's scoop it in here, and let's pop that into the pot. So we've got
Put
the
it on
ghee.
low 'cause it seems to be.
Yes. Right, here goes. So I've popped that in here. And I've placed 2 chilies there, so if you could just slice that up for me. And I'm going to give
As
the
fine as
onions
possible?
quite a mix. No, just in half, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
So we've told you about the chicken, the cream, and of course the ghee and the onion that we're currently frying. But for this aromatic and most beautiful dish, we're going to be using some fennel seeds, that's somph, all right, dried fennel seeds.
I'm
We've
just trying to focus on this.
got some cardamom here, and cardamom is such a rich and aromatic spice. We've got the clove.
Should I put this in?
Yes, you may. So Kabeshan is popping in 2 green chilies in there. Well done. Thank you. We've got turmeric, the cumin seeds or jeera, the garam masala, and of course we have a bay leaf, which I'm just going to put 1 in there. All right, you can give that a mix. I'm going to put a single clove in there. So clove is quite a pungent spice, excellent for digestion. So we try to add some clove into almost all of our curry. I'm going to put a lovely teaspoonful of fennel seeds.
Okay.
I'm putting in a teaspoonful of jeera.
So once again, the dry ingredients.
The
go
dry ingredients go in there. And you're going to give that a lovely mix. Do you get that aroma of the beautiful flavor? I'm going to put in 1 cardamom, the ilachi, and you give that a lovely, lovely good mix. So while that is happening, I've got my grater out here, and I am going to be grating some more lovely fresh ginger. Ginger is a digestion aid.
Lots of digestion aids you're putting in. Yeah?
Yeah. So, I think ancient cultures were very mindful of what natural ingredients assisted their digestion and
Oh, I thought
absorption.
it was just an issue with North India.
No, no. All right. So here we go. We've got beautiful ginger strands. I love to grate the ginger because you have some beautiful long strands of
Ginger.
Yes, in your curry, as opposed to the crushed garlic. All right.
Okay.
So how are we doing there?
So what must we look for here?
So you're just waiting for the onions to become a little bit translucent and also we did say that cooking was an amalgamation of all of the senses. So you're going to have to use your smell there to get that beautiful aroma. All right.
Nice.
It is a beautiful scent. So I am now going to put a lovely heaped, I'm going to get this into my little bowl here. This is the grated ginger, and we're going to scoop that into the oil. You can just chuck that in. There you go. And I'm going to put a lovely heaped spoon of minced garlic in there. Crushed garlic, fresh crushed garlic is wonderful as well. It's going to give it a nice spicy.
Oh, that's changed the aroma.
It is very beautiful, isn't it? And with that on the go, I am going to put in some chili powder. I'm just going to put
My favorite.
1 spoon of this. You will find that it's
I
a
mean, 2
curry.
spoons.
Well, I'm adding a little more. There we go. So the chili powder as well, the masala is just to add according to your taste. So if you like a really spicy curry, then you're going to put about 3 spoons of it. I've gone like sort of midway, and I've put 2 teaspoons of it. All right, so how's that working out? Okay, so right here, I have some tomato paste. So I'm not using fresh tomatoes because they end up being a little bit too watery, and then we have to reduce the curry a bit too much. So we've put an entire sachet, that is 10-gram sachet of tomato paste in here. I'm going to scoop that into the oil. And not only does it give it a lovely tomato base, but it also does flavor and color the curry a hell of a lot. So you're going to just go for
Keep
it there.
stirring.
You're going to keep stirring.
There you go.
And I have now got my fillets all ready, and they are ready to go into the pot. I'm just going to scoop it from here while you just keep stirring. Do you see why it's so important to have 2 people cooking in the kitchen?
Yes, it's very important.
Right, so we
Instead
scoop
of
that
sitting
all
and
in.
watching TV.
Instead of sitting and watching sport, we need 2 people, one to scoop the ingredients into the pan and the other one to be mixing it quite vociferously.
Vociferously.
Yes. Now I am going to add a teaspoon of salt all over this. You're taking it off the heat, sir, so you want to put the pot back there.
Oh, sorry, it was just slipping.
It was sliding. You've got to be mindful that you don't drop that on your feet. Okay, so how's that working out?
There we go. Should we put in water? or
No,
just let
we're
it-
just going to let the chicken cook on very high heat. Just a reminder again, that chicken cooks very quickly, so you're going to cook this on a very steady flame. And if this were to have been red meat, then you would cook it on a moderate flame. That is, keep it sort of
Medium.
medium.
With a knife, please.
All right, what are you going to do with the knife? Well, I'm going to give you a teaspoon for that. How's that?
Okay.
There we go.
More curry.
Right, so that's going to be bubbling and steaming
Do I s-
and
do I
looking
just keep
absolutely
stirring?
wonderful. You don't have to. So we're just going to get the lid on there. You will see that the water from the chicken all starts to come out, and we're going to just cover that there. We're going to turn this off. Yes, so there you go. As you can see, the water from the chicken is coming out.
So
We're
these
gonna-
thick base pots are pretty good for
the
this.
thick base pots are the only way to go, because you're going to be able to then turn this off. We're conserving electricity, and at the same time, you're making sure that your food is not overcooked, overburned, and is cooking with its own juices. There we go.
There's no cream and stuff. in it.
No, not yet. We're going to do that at the end, because if you were to add the cream too quickly, then you find that it's going to curdle. So I'm going to leave that on for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to add the sour milk, and last of all, we're going to be adding the cream at the end. All right, so I cover that up. We can turn that off, and of course it's going to be cooking in the steady steam of the pot, and of course the heat that is now going to be staying here for while we cover the spot. We're going to start with some homemade roti.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to put 2 cups of flour. This is ordinary cake flour into our little sieve. And I know you like to do this. It's a little game for you. So can you just sieve this? Thank you.
So I'm the little kid that I actually do it.
You do, I know you do. Not even arguing about that. Right, and another cup full. So we've got 2 cups of flour in there. We're going to keep a little cup on the side because when we're rolling, we're going to be using the flour as well. So are you done with that?
Look of your words.
Okay, so I'm going to be adding. Are we done?
Yeah.
Almost. Okay, that's enough. Thank you. So there's half a cup of sugar and half a teaspoon of sugar. And we're going to put some salt in to taste. And I'm going to put in some sunflower oil. Just I would say about 2 tablespoons of oil for 2 cups of flour. And then we're going to be putting in some ghee. Also again, 2 tablespoons of ghee. So that's about 1 tablespoon. There's our 2nd tablespoon of ghee. And that, of course, is going to make your dough quite lovely and soft and pliable. Because if you don't add all of that fat in, you get quite a stiff roti at the end of it all. So,
You don't want stiff roti.
You certainly don't want stiff rotis.
Okay.
So when you are done with crumbing that, I am then going to be adding some boiling water in there. So if you could just, yes, I was going to be mindful that you were going to remove your hands. So can you just pour some water in? So there again, there's the reason why you need 2 people to be cooking. And I'm going to say when. Right, let's go for it in a steady stream. Let's go.
To say when.
No, keep pouring.
Oh, you say
I'm going to
when
say
to-
when
oh,
to
to
stop.
stop. Okay.
Thank
Why
you.
don't you just say stop to stop?
Okay, I could do that as well. So let's keep going and stop. So as you can see, we're mixing up this into quite a stiff dough. It mustn't be all runny like you would a cake dough. This is going to be a lovely soft and pliable dough. So there we go. We can then drop this onto a floured board. There we go. It's a very easy way to knead dough. It's just to flatten it, and then we take the one end, we bring it to the middle, we take the other end, we bring it to the middle, we take the top end, bring it to the middle, bring the bottom end to the middle.
So it's
and
important to get it to the middle.
well, it's just so that you know you are. Are you joking? Okay, I didn't quite get that. And then we're working the dough. It's becoming quite lovely and elastic. And of course, you are releasing all of that gluten in your flour.
Oh,
and
it's
in your body, gluten in your body. So as you can see, we have divided the dough into how many pieces is this, Kabeshan?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So we're doing half a dozen of rotis. You did. With 2 cups of flour, we're doing 6 large rotis. So I'm going to put those on the side. And once again, we're going to flour the boards. So you have quite an even spread of flour all over. As you can see, I'm generously spreading the flour all over the board. And once this is done, we're going to roll out the roll out the dough on the floured board. There we go. As you can see, I'm not bothering too much to make this into a round shape because we're not just making the roti. Yeah, but you're going to see what we're going to do now. So we've got the roti and we are going to put a little ghee in the middle on the roti. Yes, I would say like a teaspoon. I'm just going to spread this along. The dough is still warm, so you find that this will melt quite easily. All right, so I'd say 1 teaspoon of ghee, butter if you'd like. We're going to take the top end and we're going to put it in the middle. We're going to put up the bottom end, we're going to put it in the middle. We're going to take this side, put it in the middle here, and let the other side meet it. and then we're going to turn it over, and we have a little square.
So
We
that's
would
done.
then do all of these, and we're going to put them in the fridge for a little while. And what happens when you put it into the fridge is that the butter hardens a little bit, because when you try to roll this roti out right now, the butter in between is going to slide all over the shore, and you're going to not be able to control the shape that the roti takes. No, we're not. I just want to give you one variant that you would do. But what you're going to do now is just roll that into a little ball. So just a little tip is, if you take the base of your palm and you place it on the board, you would of course flour your board, and then you roll this around on the board, and you find that you will then be getting quite all the little creases go to the bottom, which will just pinch. Yes.
Too much work, right? Why?
How are we doing there?
Yeah, very good, thank you. We're getting there.
Well done.
You want it round or?
Well,
you want
actually, it
the
doesn't
shape
matter.
of-
It's your, let's just call it an artisanal roti. So if you want it to be shaped in any particular way, that would be fine. And if you find it sticking to my, oops,
It's an artisanal roti.
it is an artisanal roti.
Artistic.
It is artistic, but can I just help you? All right, so the artistic roti we're going to put aside, and as we said, we take the little round, we move it
You
over.
see, you didn't tell me to do that.
I did that for you.
Oh.
And then I rolled it up with the base of my palm.
Oh, you didn't do that. bit.
I did that as well. And then, as you can see, all the little bits go underneath, so we don't have a cracked roti. We flatten it, we flour the
Cracked
board.
roti is very, very disgusting.
And you know, if you're not familiar with using a rolling pin, you don't have to. You can just flatten it with your hand. So, you know, previously and originally, when rotis first originated, people would just flatten it. It was called unleavened bread, because people would just
Not leaven it.
yes, spread it open with their fingers like this and just pull the shape up. And for those of you that want an absolutely amazing round roti, the trick is to just put a plate in here and cut it around, and then you've got a round roti.
I've seen
But
people,
we've said that this is an artisanal roti, so whatever shape it ends up being is fine, but as long as they don't have huge big peepholes in them, and as long as they don't end up sticking
Okay, just go and
like
fry
they
the
did.
roti.
So we've got the pan on, and I'm just going to turn this heat up a bit. I have a thick base pot. The lovely thing about this is that it's going to retain a lot of the heat. The roti is going to be cooking through while it toasts on the outside, and once again, very energy saving kind of method of cooking, because the pot retains so much of heat. So there we go. We take our large roti, we put it into the pan. Please make sure as well that the size of your roti sort of matches the size of the pan. You don't want to find that you have a large roti and a tiny little pan.
Okay.
All right? Right, here's our roti doing its thing here. And once again, you want to turn a roti just once, because you don't want it to end up being too dried out. You want it to be toasted on the one side, and then, yes, that's a bit, yes.
This is a square roti.
It is a square roti, and of course you don't want to make it too thin, because that's when it's going to break. All right, you almost had it there. So as you can see, a couple of bubbles appearing on the surface. The roti is coming up very nicely. We're going to peep underneath to see if it's ready, and there we go. There's our rotis in the pan, all beautifully done, and that butter and the layers that we've incorporated by folding is going to let it puff up quite nicely. So it's a bit of most crusty
I think
pastry.
I broke it actually.
That's okay. And let's turn over.
Yeah, that's
Well
nicely
done. That's nicely done. It's going to be crisp on the outside. It's going to be beautiful and soft.
Better.
So there's our chicken, all nicely. As you can see, it's all cooked, although we had it off because there was so much of heat in the pan. all the excess water has come out. The chicken is cooking in its own gravy. And when this comes up to a simmer, like we've done now, we're going to be using the coconut cream. So can you
how
get like
much of
2
coconut cream?
tablespoons of coconut cream in
So
there?
that's like 4 teaspoons.
Yes. Well done.
So oh,
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Right, just scoop, just throw
I
it in
didn't
there.
realize.
That's fine.
I'm just using my finger, right?
Okay, you may.
There we go.
So we put coconut, I think you could put another big dollop. Coconut cream in there. Right, so there we
So
go.
now you'd notice that the color has changed.
Color
lot
has
lighter now.
changed. That's only because of the cream. So that's it. Our butter chicken on the boil, our rotis are made, and are you ready now to try some dessert?
Yes, boss.